All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Lady Family Live. Just give it a couple seconds here for people to log in. Welcome to the first YouTube edition of Lady Family Live. If you've tuned in over the years, well, you've seen us on Zoom mostly, but this is our first attempt at using YouTube. So hopefully it's a great platform, works for you. There is a chat function there, so feel free to use that to type messages. I will just type a quick hi in there to get that going and see if anyone else from our team is joining, or anyone else online. If you are enjoying our wines, sharing our wines tonight, we want to see that in there. If you have questions throughout the evening, please throw them in there. And we've got a great lineup of wines to go through tonight. Looks like we've got Brian and Carol in St. Louis. Hello, thanks for joining. We've got a great lineup of wines tonight. A couple single vineyard offerings from Fell Wines, new releases that I'll cover. And then we'll have Chris Tynan, our director of winemaking here at Cliff Lede Vineyards, join us to cover the new Cliff Lede releases. But very excited to be coming back and talking to you all, because it's been several months since we did our last webinar, and we've got a lot of great things to talk about, a lot of great things to cover. For those of you who were able to make it out to our recent Harvest Barbecue, thank you for joining us. We had a great time last weekend. And if you weren't able to join us, think about coming next year. It's a super fun event. The food was great, perfect weather, and obviously awesome wine. So outside of that, Wine Club members, you should be receiving your shipments, and hopefully you're enjoying those. We've got plenty of new releases, as you know. Poetry, 2021 Poetry is now available. So if you haven't looked at that yet, please think about it. Holidays are coming up. Holiday gifting. If you have gifts you're looking for that special someone, we'd love to put something together for you and have it sent out. And what else is happening? I guess we have some upcoming events next year. We're working on our winter dinner, so you'll see details on that soon. And then, of course, the springtime Rock Block release party will be coming up, along with our summertime dinner. So lots of great things coming in 2025. And of course, we'll join you again in December to cover those releases. But here we are. It's October. We are done harvest at Cliff Lede Vineyards, and Chris can speak to that when he comes out and tell you all how it went. But we're going to start things off in the Anderson Valley with two of our beautiful new releases from Fell. I've got the 2022 Fell Wines Chardonnay here, which is the latest white wine release from that beautiful vineyard. This is 100% Chardonnay, as always. And this is made in a style that leans a little bit classic California, but also kind of leaning a little bit more classic Burgundy as well. All this wine is fermented in large oak puncheon barrels, so they're larger than your standard barrel. And what that does is gives a little less oak influence on the wine. So there is a touch of New French oak on this, which really adds to the aromatics. But outside of that, it's certainly not a toasty wine. Comes off very fruit forward, and it's got that Granny Smith apple and a lot of freshness that you would typically find in our Anderson Valley Chardonnays. But there's a level of creaminess and like brioche and things that are just like a little bit more full textured, full bodied for Chardonnay. On the palate, I'm getting a lot of acidity. It's very fresh, mouth watering. This is a great food wine. Thinking about Thanksgiving coming up, of course, the holidays. A lot of brightness here. Oh, look at the alcohol in that, actually. 12.7% alcohol. So, showcasing, again, a cooler climate region, the Anderson Valley. That's 100 miles northwest of where we are here in Napa. And so the wines are always a little bit more natural acidity and brightness. And, we'll talk a little bit about the 2022 vintage tonight, and Chris can give us his expert opinion on that. But it was a warmer year, but up in the Anderson Valley, picking a little bit on the earlier side, we were able to capture more of those fresh qualities. And so this wine certainly gives a lot of that. So if you love Chardonnay, even if you don't really love Chardonnay, this is maybe one worth trying because it has a lot of lift and brightness to it. a lot of refreshing qualities, and very limited amounts made. I don't have the tech sheet right in front of me, but very limited amounts of this are made. And of course, hailing from the most famous vineyard in the Anderson Valley, the Savoy Vineyard. Great stuff. Staying on that note, though, we have another wine from the beautiful Savoy Vineyard. This is the 2022 Savoy Vineyard Pinot Noir from Fell Wines. So the vineyard is roughly 42 acres, mostly planted to Pinot Noir, several different clonal selections with a little bit of Chardonnay, and that's what we use, of course, for our Chardonnay, but there's some beautiful Pinot Noir throughout that property. And there's a mix of what we call the California heritage clones. So clones that have been propagated through California for generations, and then clones that are based off the traditional clones of Burgundy. So Dijon clone, Pommard clone, and different levels of those, of course. So they offer different things to the wine. The Dijon clones, the clones from Burgundy tend to have a little bit more, call it a wildness or a more savory component to them, while the California clones tend to have a little bit more brightness of fruit and a punchiness to them. So that comes together here. I'm getting that, immediately off the nose. You get a little bit of spice and a little bit of like crushed leaves and forest floor mossiness, but behind all that is this like beautiful dark cherry cola, cranberry tart, like not tart cranberry, like ripe cranberries. Smells like the Anderson Valley to me, which has kind of always been the balance between, Sonoma, Russian River Valley, and then Oregon up north. The Anderson Valley kind of exists in that little niche in between. Incredible purity of fruit here. It's very focused. There's no new oak on this wine. So while it was, fermented in stainless steel and aged in neutral oak, it's really retained just the pureness of fruit expression. Again, brightness, acidity, perfect food wine, 13.5% alcohol. So, you're definitely right on the cusp of where you've got these beautiful ripe fruit qualities. Again, that cherry cola comes through on the palate. Maybe there's some strawberry in there, but there's this lift and nuance to this. It always reminds me of being up there and being near the Hendy Woods, which have this natural sort of fresh, fragrant, piney, almost like a eucalyptus that floats throughout the air. And this wine kind of evokes a lot of that. It's terroir, right? That's what wine is all about, and that's why you should consider buying this, trying this. It's a wonderfully made wine. Again, very limited quantities. So again, perfect Thanksgiving wines. Think about maybe adding one of those soon to one of your orders. And gosh, what a great lineup from Fell. Both of those Savoy Vineyard wines, absolutely love them. If you have questions about those, again, feel free to throw them in the chat or shoot us an email. We'd be happy to address those. But with that said, that's it for Phil. Just 2 quick wines tonight, and then we've got plenty to cover with Cliff Lede. So Chris is going to join me, and we're going to come back down to Napa Valley, which, look at that reflection I've got off the glass here. That's the beautiful hillside vineyard, of course, the Poetry Vineyard. You can see it's a beautiful sunny day here, so we're very excited to finally have a little bit of fall. We had a little bit of rain this morning, beautifully refreshing, although now my car's dirty, so I'm going to have to figure out when I'm going to have to wash it. But we're thankful for that, and we're thankful for the vintage that we had. And Chris is joining us now, so we're going to awkwardly shift around so that we can both get in the camera here. And again, please use that chat to throw questions our way and anything you have. For Chris, of course, Director of Winemaking, if you want to speak directly to a winemaker, now's your chance. And we're going to, again, taste some awesome wines from Cliff Lede Vineyards. So Chris, I kind of just, finished talking about how nice it was to wake up today to some rain and finally some cooler temperatures. It's been a warm kind of end of September, early October, but, give us your feedback on how harvest went this last season.
It was a really easy harvest, great weather. We are just in the midst of draining most of the tanks. So the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have everything in barrel. We did our last pick on October 1st. So Just really excited about the quality and quantity of the 24 vintage. Just really aromatic, reds and whites, flush, very balanced, fresh acidity. So it's looking like another great year.
Love hearing that.
For sure.
Especially after the last 5 years, there's been some challenging years with 2020. We didn't make any wine. But since then, we've been very fortunate. Obviously, if you're paying attention out there, there's been a lot of talk about the 2023s being a great year. Love the 21s, which, have been out now for a little while in the market. And of course, we're going to talk about 2022 tonight. So great that after a very tough year like 2020, where we didn't make any wine because of the wildfire smoke, we've had a consecutive sort of streak now of great vintages. So congratulations on another vintage under your belt. How many is that now? How many harvests have you done?
This was my 13th harvest.
Lucky number 13. There we go. Love it.
12th year, 13th harvest.
Well, we're going to step back 1 year to 2023 to talk about the next wine, which I'm very excited to present because it has been close to, I believe, 20 years since we have made Chardonnay at Cliff Lede Vineyards. This is the first time in a long time that we've made Chardonnay. And largely what drove this decision was the purchase of a vineyard down in Carneros that we picked up in 2019. We replanted it in 2020, and we put a little Chardonnay down there because, Chardonnay does very well down in Carneros. And while we sell most of the grapes to other wineries and some sparkling houses, we decided to keep a little bit for ourselves just to see how it turned out. And because of Chris and his expertise, of course, we love it. And decided to bottle it. I think we have 500 or 600 cases maybe of this wine. Of course, it's going to be, offered to our members first and foremost. So that is the 2023 Cliff Lede Chardonnay. Chris, tell us about this wine. How fun was it to make a Chardonnay after, really only making Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet here?
Yeah, it was a blast. I mean, I love the challenge. Obviously, there's some great Napa Chardonnays that have been made here over the years. And I'm glad to finally get a little chance to see what I can do with it. And we planted 4 heritage clones down there in Carneros. So we've got some Wente, some Robert Young, and just all those different blocks come together into a really fresh, wonderful, balanced Chardonnay, we're really excited about the potential of this. This is just the 4th leaf on these Chardonnay vines, but already producing some amazing stuff. We pick a little early so we can send the wine through full malolactic, but you wouldn't know it. It's not buttery at all. It's just really fresh and elegant and perfumed. I dare say it's got more akin to some Grand Cru Chablis than anything right now, but it's really opening and blossoming, and it's really excited. And this is great potential, I think, going forward with this wine.
Absolutely. I love the style. I mean, I love how, leading up to this, of course, we tasted several Napa Valley Chardonnays and things that, we might want to aspire to. And I feel like you really nailed that style that we really wanted to come out with at Cliff Lede, because it is, it's a new thing for us, despite having made it 20 years ago. It's certainly important that the Cliff Lede style comes through. And I think that you absolutely nailed it. It tastes like Napa Valley Chardonnay, but it's not over the top, and it's not, under performing or under ripe or anything like that. It's really nicely balanced. I love the creaminess without the butteriness. Like I like how if you are familiar with the Fel Chardonnays, if you are drinking those Chardonnays, they have a natural acidity to them that normally is more prevalent because not a lot of those wines went through malolactic fermentation. So they kind of show a bit of a racier side of Chardonnay, whereas this went through the malolactic. So the acidities are a little softer, a little rounder, and the flavor profile is somewhat different. It's still apple, but it's not that Granny Smith like, mouth-watering puckery style. It's got a little bit more creaminess, like a Macintosh or something. And I mean, I don't know what's in the tasting notes, but that's what I get from this. I mean, to me, it reminds me of Napa Valley. It comes off very well made, and I'm excited about the future of this wine. It'll be cool to see this age a little bit too over the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah, I think it's going to age beautifully as well. I think it's going to get better and better. A lot of honeycomb pear to me right now. Really beautiful.
There's definitely like a little honeyed quality to it. Gosh, what would you eat with this? I mean, I guess like lobster, like pretty classic Chardonnay pairings. I don't know if you have any other.
Yeah, it's got enough acidity to still pair with something rich because it's going to cut through that fat. So any kind of lobster or anything with a little cream in it, for sure, that's going to be it's going to do great buttery stuff.
The other question we might get is like, how does this compare to the Sauvignon Blanc? Because many people, know our Sauvignon Blanc, and because it has Semillon in it, it has a little bit more creaminess. And how would you, relate this to that, or how would you talk about the differences between the two? I mean, for me, they're very varietally correct, but I'd love to hear your opinion.
Yeah, this to me just, you're not going to mistake the two. They're just completely different varietals and aromatically different. And as they're aging, they're becoming even more their own unique thing. I think one of the things we thought about when we're making wine from Napa Valley is those, some Napa Chardonnays can get really big and kind of cloying, and we really wanted freshness and acidity. And that's what we thrive on. These wines are just making wines that are perfumed and really focusing on those aromatics and texture. And I think this is super elegant. And I don't think I answered your question there.
That's okay. You did. I mean, the Sauvignon Blanc has a lot of aromatic qualities, as does this, but they're very different in how they come out in the glass. And I still think like there is a signature Cliff Lede thing to this. I don't know if it's like the cooperages, or it's got to obviously be the winemaking, which you guys are doing, and just that balance between freshness, acidity, texture, weight. I mean, I find that through all of our wines. And so very excited to share this with you all. If you're coming up for a visit, I think it was Carol was mentioning that she might want to taste this. Let us know when you're coming. We'll open a bottle of this up for you to taste if you're interested in trying it, because we definitely want to create some fans around this wine, because I love it and I want to make sure it's successful so we can continue making it. But very exciting to have a Chardonnay from Cliff Lede. And you'll notice it just says Napa Valley, but truly this is a wine that comes from an estate vineyard that we're very proud of, and in time we know is going to just be getting better and better and better. So great Chardonnay. We've got 3 awesome red wines to go through. I figured we'd start with Crossfade, which is one of my favorite wines to talk about, of course. This was the first wine project that I got to work on with Chris and our marketing team in developing. And since the 2019 vintage, the first vintage, I've sat in on the blending and helped put this wine together. Of course, it's simultaneously a tribute to the art of DJing and using a crossfader to blend music together, but also bringing 2 generations of wine grapes together. Having Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon together is very central to this wine. And it's always a fun wine to work on, because it's not something that prior to 2019 that we ever really did. So Chris, before we talk specifically about this wine, can you tell us a little bit about 2022 and your overall impression so far, and how you're thinking the wines are tasting right now, and if people should drink or hold, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think one of the things we pride ourselves in here at Cliff Lede is that we can make really great wine, legendary wine, in very challenging vintages. And honestly, 2022 is a very challenging vintage. We had a very normal kind of growing season with a warm summer. And then we got a weather report that we knew in the first week of September, we were going to have a pretty serious heat wave for an extended period of time. And one of the benefits of being in Stag's Leap District is we're a little bit of an earlier ripening appellation in Napa. So that suited us well. So things were already moving in a really nice way. And we felt like we didn't want to let a lot of that fruit go through that big heat wave and get it too hot. So we decided to strategically pick through the Poetry Vineyard and work our way down through Poetry over into Rhythm and make our way. We actually picked our entire estate in Stag's Leap District in 2 weeks, which was a Herculean task, but we felt like we wanted to preserve those beautiful aromatics and those fresh acidities and all those grapes. We didn't want to see them get baked out in a big heat wave. And I think we made the right bet during that vintage, because we were able to really capture the essence of the grapes and really preserve kind of that terroir and that signature of all of our estate vineyards and our grower vineyards, because we did pick early and get it through. It's one of the advantages of having a great winery here is that we've got our optical sorting system. We can do 3.5, 4 tons an hour, pick as much grapes as we can, get them through and get them in the tank where they're nice and safe and cold. And that was a big advantage of it for us in 2022. And I think that's what we're going to make some pretty serious wines here that are going to age beautifully and you're going to love because of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, straight off the bat, I just pulled these corks, by the way, 30 minutes ago, and I'm loving, how this is tasting. I mean, mind you, this wine is typically crafted to have some early appeal and some flashiness, and bring out that beautiful Franc aromatic, and then the power of the cab. I think most of the Cabernet for this wine over the last couple of years has come from our Calistoga vineyard, which further north, so a little bit earlier ripening, even more so than in Stag's Leap District. So, I tend to see a little bit more fleshiness and ripeness from the fruit from that vineyard. And then that Franc coming from Stag's Leap and maybe Madrona Ranch too. I mean, a few different things, but, some legendary spots for Cabernet Franc coming together here.
I love how this wine's already integrated really well. All the Franc and Cab are just playing so beautifully together. Sometimes, in a young wine like this, they can be a little disjointed, but they're already beautifully integrated. And this is going to be hard to cork in tonight. We
spit that out. Yeah, that's pretty good. And we poured this at the Harvest Barbecue. We did this last weekend as sort of a new release lineup for the folks that came in, and this was one of the most popular wines we poured that day. This is with like classic ribs with like barbecue sauce and all the fixings and everything, and that I feel like that's one of the perfect pairings for this wine because it is very plush, it's powerful, it's concentrated, there's a lot of fruit in there. You get a little bit of oak, so there's a little toastiness, and I was like, yeah, this with those smoked ribs was like pretty much a perfect pairing.
Nice.
Yeah, it worked out really well. There's just a textural thing here too. It's just, I think you nailed it. It's just very integrated out of the gate. Fantastic.
Fun wine to make and blend.
Always fun to blend. I'll tell you, like the first year it was like, we nailed it. It's amazing, out of the gate. And then you go back and you got to do it again. And then you got to do it again. And that's always a tough task. But of course, you guys are experts and you make it a lot easier. But that turned out really nice. I love that. And I'm definitely proud of that, representing for all the DJs out there. But now we're going to get a little bit more cab heavy, a little bit more precise to a specific place. This is the Cliff Lede Howell Mountain 2022. So, for those of you who followed us for many years, thank you so much. And you'll, of course, recognize that we've made a Howell Mountain Cabernet for a very long time. We love this appellation. It's very different than Stag's Leap District, further north, higher elevation. The expression of Cabernet is drastically different than what we have here or other parts of Napa Valley. So we absolutely love making this wine. But I'll let Chris speak a little bit more to what he sees in this and what he loves about Howell.
I think one of the things I love about wine is when the wine speaks to the terroir, the appellation, the place where it's grown. And Howell Mountain is just a high elevation, hillside mountain on the east side of Napa Valley, surrounded by pine forests, just giant pines. And the wines, no matter which vintages, I'm always impressed when I put my nose in there. I just smell that pine forest floor, that earthy loam. You just kind of smell that beautiful high elevation air. And it thrills me every time because, most of our time is spent down here in Stag's Leap, and we get accustomed to kind of the weather and the aromas and the smells from the trees here. And just smelling, like Jason said, the Howell Mountain is so distinctive especially from where we are. And it's wonderful to kind of share this little appellation with everyone.
It does definitely have that like fresh morning air, and again, it's not necessarily like stepping out into poetry or like the oak. It is more that piney quality. as soon as you said that, as I was smelling it, I was like, oh my God, it just smells like if you take a trip to the mountains, and you get a walk out in the morning, it's like that super fresh air.
You can still smell the ocean too, though, to me, in this wine. Like you can still smell that Pacific Ocean breeze that's come over and, sailed over the Mayacamas, and it's just really wonderful.
No, that is like aromatically super interesting.
Elegant, and I love it. More just chocolatey, melted chocolate tannins, really suave.
And just like very compact and focused on, doing one thing really well. I don't know. I don't have the blend in front of me, but let's see. Maybe we have. I wonder if you guys blended anything into this.
A little Merlot and
Howell Mountain. A little Merlot and a little Petit Verdot. Nice. Only 571 cases. So I think maybe that was part of 22 as well, right? Just smaller production, only putting the best fruit as possible into the wines, which is, of course, what we do every year. But, in more challenging years, you're sorting more fruit out off the line. And so production numbers tend to suffer for that reason. So, would have been great to make a little bit more of this, but God, what you put in the bottle is like epically perfect. Again, I mean, if you enjoy, young California Cabernet, this is certainly, in a nice spot. Again, I opened it 30 minutes ago. I look forward to seeing what it tastes like later tonight, maybe tomorrow, just to see if it, offers even more. But wow, these wines are really expressive just out the gate. And even the fact that Howell can be, I think they tend to have a reputation of being like a harder wine, and they need a million years to kind of come together and to be drinkworthy or drinkable. I mean, I feel like you guys have done a really excellent job of like taming those tannins and, still making a serious ageable wine, but, not being like, well, forget about it for 100 years. It's something that your grandkids are going to enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is great. Pretty easy on this one. This is like, get a great ribeye, right? Just throw it on the grill. You don't really have to do too much.
That's perfect.
Yep. I think that would be a pretty perfect pairing for that Howell. It's got all the structure and tannin to just cleanse the palate from bite to bite. Really, really nice. Really, really nice job. All right. So it wasn't necessarily part of the plan originally, because those are all the new releases for the club, but we have one new release that we did not do a specific webinar for because it's a singular release, and that's, of course, Poetry, our flagship wine. This is the 2021, so we're stepping back a year prior, of course, to 2022. Great year. I'll let Chris speak to that, but this is Poetry 2021. It is the newly released. It came out maybe a little over a month ago, and so far so good. It's been very well received. I mean, this is a 100-point scoring wine, which is, congratulations to Chris and team. It's his third in a row. I believe they call that a turkey in bowling. So maybe this could be your turkey wine, right, for your holidays. This is the 2021 vintage. So, we didn't have any 21s yet. So, this will be the last time we talk about 21, I guess, until we do a library release. So what were your thoughts on the 2021 vintage?
Well, I mentioned earlier that we pride ourselves on making good wine in tough vintages. And I guess the opposite of that would be you better make really good wine in really great vintages. So this is one of those years that was just amazing and easy for winemakers across the board. And it was my job to kind of capture that and make sure it lived up to its reputation. And I think it has. I think this wine is, we talked about it earlier, that's one of the best wines we've made here at Cliff Lede. And I think it's going to age for a long, long time. And it's just so elegant and perfumed. And I just keep repeating that, elegance and perfumed, a lot. But it's just something you want to just keep smelling and tasting and smelling and tasting. It just draws you back in to see how it's changing in the glass. And it's, I think it's one of the best wines we've ever made here at Cliff Lede. So very proud of this wine. Proud of our team for what we've accomplished. These wines are getting older. They're getting more established each year with Poetry. I feel like we're just making better and better wines as the vines get older, and we really fine tune them. And so this is a culmination of a lot of work, and I think we've got 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, and now 24, a nice, really great string of vintages that will, bolster our reputation as one of the best winemakers and winemaking teams here, for certainly in Stag's Leap, if not Napa, and hopefully the world.
The world, I firmly believe that. Otherwise, I wouldn't do what I do. This is a perfect wine, honestly. Like, this is just texturally so nice on the palate. Nothing's poking out. Tannin, acid, fruit, texture. Like, as soon as it enters, on the front end, it just expands throughout your palate, and then through the finish, I mean, it just lingers. I can still taste it. Like, this is such a remarkable wine. And your point of like perfume, I mean, there's plenty of great Napa Valley wines out there, and there's plenty of really like powerful, bold, expressive styles, and those wines can be really fun, but I don't find they are like as intriguing as this. Like, this is a wine that you pour in a glass, and it's you basically meditate. Like, you can just sit there and nose this, and whether you're sharing with friends or just having a glass on your own. I mean, it's just like, it's so thought-provoking how it's changing in the glass. What does it smell like now? What did it smell like 20 minutes ago? What is kind of opened up more? What is kind of faded away? And like, where's this wine going? It's like, it's all the things. It's truly special. And I feel like in a vintage like this, with, as you mentioned, your team, the maturity we have on the site, we're really starting to see like what the ultimate potential of this wine can be. And of course, we've always made great poetry over the years, but like, this is, I guess what I'm saying is, to me, this is like so perfect in so many ways, but the best part of it is it's like unique. Like, I don't see many other Napa Valley Cabernets at this level that just have all of this going on. And I don't taste as many as a lot of people out there, but I certainly taste a lot. And wow, this is a special wine. So kudos to you for the critical acclaim you've received on it. But I mean, I know people are just gonna absolutely love this vintage and highly collectible. Gosh, we'd love to get you some. If you're interested in it, let us know. The holidays are coming up, and of course, it's makes this for a special gift or something great to have with a meal. This to me is like, I think I basically said it, like, just pair it with a glass. You could do, great with food, variety of food, but this is a wine that you can literally just like relax and just really enjoy it for what it is, and not necessarily have to think too much about, what to pair it with. Just really fantastic. Yeah, can't wait to watch that one evolve. Wow, well, that was an amazing lineup of wines. All of those stunning. A lot of potential to see where they're going to go. Of course, we'll be back in December with even more new releases. In the meantime, if you need anything from us, please reach out to our wine club team or our concierge team. If you're thinking of coming to visit, please come visit us. I always get asked, what's the nicest time of year to come to Napa Valley? What's the best time to come? Of course, it's nice to come during harvest. You can see, the action in the wineries, but everybody's busy, and it's really hard to get that kind of access, But this period we're entering, the fall, when the leaves start turning color and the temperatures start to kind of mellow out, it's the best time of year to come here. It just is. It's the perfect time to enjoy the new releases that we have, to come to our tasting room and enjoy a tasting, whether it's backstage or out in the VIP area looking out at the vineyards. Strongly encourage you to think about doing it. If it's not going to work out this year, come see us next year. I mentioned at the start of the program, we have plenty of events coming your way throughout 2025, and we'll share all of those dates as soon as possible. And we want to host you. We want to have you out here. We love our members. We love our new visitors. We love you all. So thank you so much for your time, for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. I hope the YouTube version has worked out for you all, and please let your friends know that We'd love to have them come visit too, and feel free to share the wines in the webinar with them. That's why we're doing it on YouTube, so it's easy to share. And again, appreciate you all for everything that you do for us. Thank you, Chris, for joining us tonight. A lot of fun. I always love this. I get to taste all these amazing wines and talk to experts and, get to chat with you all. So that's going to be it. Thanks, Chris. Cheers.
Cheers.
We'll see you all hopefully sooner than later.